Hey guys, so today I'm going to be looking at more gut feeling stories. So yeah, let's just get right into the video. A few years ago, a few guy friends and I had a guys only vacation from our girlfriends and wives in Florida. We went down to the Keys and camped, snorkeled, went boating, all that touristy stuff. After almost a week of doing all that, we got bored with the designated snorkeling areas and decided to find a less populated and more interested area to snorkel. We ended up finding some saltwater marshes in a national park, walked around the edges until we found a dilapidated and collapsing tower near the water. Maybe an old lifeguard tower. No swimming signs were everywhere, but being a bunch of drunk dudes, we decided to jump off the tower and into the water. No big deal. Jumped off a few times, swam around a bit. After a bit, everyone else was saying they wanted to stay in the marshes and swim around and explore a bit. I just didn't have a good feeling about how murky the water was and how nobody else was around. Everyone else wanted to do it, and in a way I did as well. But regardless, just had a gut feeling. Eventually, after some arguing, I told them they could go ahead, but I was going back to the bar street to party. For whatever reason, they decided that was a better idea and we all left. It was only a few days later that we were leaving the campsite that we ran across a ranger and had a conversation with him. Ended up chatting about the marshes and how we jumped in a few times. All of a sudden, he got intense and his eyes got wide. Turns out those marshes were off limits because they were absolutely infested by saltwater crocodiles, and to a lesser extent, sharks. It was actually a tourist destination simply because they were so commonly seen there. If we swam there and left shore, I don't know what would have happened. That water was so murky that you could scarcely see a foot in front of your face, and there were 11 of us. That is so scary. That also marks one of the times that I didn't follow through with a sketchy plan, so I'm proud of it. Whoa, that is scary. I feel like this is why you just shouldn't jump into murky or dirty water that you can't see what's down there. Just don't jump into water where it says no swimming. I'm pretty sure signs are there for a reason, but thank gosh no one was hurt. That is so scary. Ugh. You guys all know how much I hate the ocean because of what I don't know is out there. It's the same with this, okay? Instead of no swimming signs, couldn't they have put crocodiles, warning crocodiles? Because I feel like sometimes people just like to break rules, and if they see no swimming, they're like, no swimming, I'm gonna go for a swim. But I feel like if they saw warning crocodiles, then they wouldn't want to put their life at risk kind of thing, I don't know, man. Last summer, after I had gotten out of the shower and climbed into bed, I had this overwhelming feeling that I should deadbolt the door. So I got up and walked the length of my house completely naked and locked my side door. By the time I had gotten back to the bedroom and turned off the lights, someone was at the door trying to kick it in. I called 911 and had a 3-minute response time, but the guy got away by running into the field behind my house and he disappeared. The police on the scene told me that they suspect it was the same guy that had broken into other area houses. What the heck? Yo, sometimes I get these feelings too, but nothing happens. Sometimes you have those feelings at the back of your head oh, I should really do this, or I should really do that. But it's just a feeling, Thank gosh nothing happened. It's crazy how the timing was so close though, because what if it was off 10 seconds and as they are about to lock the door, the person kicks the door and gets in, Man, a few seconds can change a lot. Was walking home by myself one night years ago. Being the naive 15-year-old girl that I was at the time, I wasn't really worried about walking by myself so late at night. These two guys were walking down the road towards me. They were talking to each other and just walking. They didn't look at me, say anything that I heard, or make any kind of movement that would indicate they were anything more than just two people on their way home. I got to the corner of my street and they were just across the road, perhaps 15 feet away. My street only has a sidewalk on the one side, the side they were approaching. Suddenly, I just got this awful sinking feeling in my stomach and something told me to run. I didn't run because I immediately reasoned I was being crazy, but I did turn immediately down the side of my street with no sidewalk, walking as quickly as I could. After a moment, I looked back at the two men. They had stopped at the corner, were perhaps 20 feet away from me now, and they were clearly having a quick and intense conversation. My heart was pounding at this point. I turned around and kept walking fast, looked back again. They had crossed the street and were following me. I live on a dead-end street. The only reason to be on it is if you live there. So I started running. Lucky for me, I have long legs and have always been a good sprinter. Oh, lucky. Oh my gosh, I'm scared. Also, fortunately, my house was not very far down and I was quickly in my driveway and pulling out my keys. I opened the door and was stepping into the house when I looked behind me again. They were standing at the end of my driveway. They looked at me, turned, and walked back the way they had come, perhaps reasoning that no teenager would live in a house by themselves, and obviously I had parents who would have heard me scream at this point. I still shudder to think about what might have happened if I hadn't listened to my gut and turned early instead of walking within arm's reach of them. I'm scared. Yo, imagine being followed and then you're about to go into your house and then you look outside your house and someone's just standing there in front of your driveway. Oh my gosh, jeez. This just makes me even more scared at night now. I mean, not that I go out or anything, but still. I mean, I always just feel like it's scary to get in your car at night. Because you can't see like what's around you or anything. I don't know, maybe I'm just overthinking, but every single time I just feel like it's scary. I was running down a mountain with my friend, trying to race him back to the campsite. I was almost finished winning the race and just had to climb over these waist-high barriers. Instead of stopping and just climbing over like I normally would have, I jumped as hard as I could about 5 feet back from the barrier. I barely made it over. When I looked back to brag about my victory, I noticed that my friend was standing almost completely still and slowly circling around the fence towards where the entrance was. Seeing the fear in his face, I looked down and realized that about 2.5 feet in front of the fence was a very pissed off rattlesnake. They just jumped over a rattlesnake. The rattlesnake was like, what the heck, dude? You're supposed to fear me. Oh my gosh, that was a close call. Yo, it's always crazy to hear about stories where people are in danger but they just don't know it and they kind of escape that, you know. It's crazy. The friend must have been like, yo dude, what the heck is wrong with you? My brother had a normal birth, no complications, and he was the third child, so my parents knew what they were doing. Typical procedure, my parents brought him home. He was a regular newborn, no signs of anything abnormal. But one night, a few weeks after my parents brought him home, my mum couldn't sleep. She said it felt like she dreamed something bad happened, but couldn't remember it, like a residual worried feeling. After a few minutes, this completely unexplained feeling is escalating into fear and dread, and she still has no idea why she's even awake at this hour. But as a parent, the things that she associated with Rory were her children, one of which was being far too quiet for a newborn in the middle of the night. So she goes to check in on my brother. He's not breathing at all. She freaks out, wakes my dad with her screaming, and they rush him to the emergency room. Turns out he had pneumonia and it had completely blocked off his airway. Brother has mild but permanent brain damage from the lack of oxygen to his brain. He turns 22 this year because my mum woke up in the middle of the night with a bad feeling. Parent instincts, okay. Wait, mum instincts because the dad was sleeping. I'm kidding. But yes, parent instincts. That is honestly crazy. I feel like these kind of instincts have probably saved so many babies. When I was 9 or 10, a friend and I were walking home from playing at a third friend's house a few blocks away. It's rush hour and we're on a fairly main road. 3 guys pull up and ask if we need a ride. My friend says no. Guys get out of the car and try to force us in. We run. They jump back in the car and go around the block to make another try. As we see that car coming, we run into an open garage and hide under the car. 30 years later, I can still see all 3 of their faces. The decision to run into that open garage rather than try to outrun them probably saved my life. Yo. This is just scary to think about. Like, even imagining it. Because, you know, as a kid, you're taught to say no if a stranger asks if you want a lift. But it doesn't even work if they try to force you in. You know what I mean? Like, they said no, but then they still try to force them in. Like, what the heck? That didn't work. The no didn't work. That is so scary. I went to an Asian market with a friend and grabbed a mother load of delicious pastries. The store was up on a hill, so the parking lot had a horrible slant. Right when we're about to head for the road to cross to the bus stop, I get the urge to eat one of my amazing pastries I bought. So me and my friend stop for me to wrestle with the packaging. When our car directly at the top of the hill begins to reverse, speeds up, rushes past us, and completely totals the bus stop. If I had not stopped to eat the pastry, we'd have gotten run over. Wow, when bread saves your life. when you being hungry saved your life. Jeez. Well, that's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Tell me in the comments down below what your thoughts are. And as always, thanks for watching. Hope you guys liked it. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye!